Here are 3 things that wound a narcissist more deeply than almost anything else. Hello, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are going to explore a question that many people often ask. Can a narcissist actually cry? Can they genuinely experience emotional pain? The answer is yes. Narcissists do experience emotions, even though they frequently portray themselves as victims or behave as if everyone has treated them unfairly. The same emotional sensitivity that allows them to play the victim so convincingly also leaves them surprisingly easy to hurt. A narcissist's ego is extremely delicate, and even the smallest setback can leave a mark. Some situations only make them uneasy, while others can seriously damage the way they see themselves. And when the criticism or rejection comes from someone they admire or seek approval from, the emotional impact can be overwhelming. Few things affect a narcissist more than having their pride questioned or their sense of control threatened. It makes little difference whether it happens publicly or behind closed doors. The emotional sting is just as powerful either way. In many ways, narcissists create much of their own suffering. They do this through dishonesty, by presenting a false version of themselves, and by constantly battling deep insecurity beneath the surface. Most people would not give these things much importance, but narcissists believe they should be admired, respected, and beyond criticism. So the moment they feel challenged or slighted, they often seek revenge. In their minds, everyone else should carry the burden of their emotional pain, while they avoid accepting responsibility themselves. Over the years, narcissism has increasingly been recognized as a genuine mental health concern. What narcissists often need from those around them is understanding, patience, and compassion, even if that does not excuse harmful behavior. Right now, a narcissist may be acting in contradictory ways, saying one thing while doing something entirely different, relying on your kindness to give them yet another opportunity. Ironically, that is exactly what leaves them vulnerable to emotional wounds. So without wasting any more time, let's look at 3 of the most common ways people unintentionally hurt a narcissist's feelings. The first is being ignored, excluded, or pushed aside. Narcissists struggle immensely with hearing the truth about their imperfections. Even the smallest amount of criticism feels painfully personal because their emotional defenses are incredibly fragile. They fear being abandoned or left alone because they depend heavily on constant admiration, validation, and attention from the people around them. A narcissist simply cannot maintain their inflated self-image without others continuously feeding their ego. And this is where things become difficult. Once you become deeply involved in a narcissist's life, breaking away can be incredibly challenging. Today, narcissists have more opportunities than ever before. Through social media platforms and instant communication, they can create an online fantasy where they receive endless compliments, likes, and admiration without needing genuine face-to-face relationships. This digital environment allows them to maintain connections that might otherwise disappear without real personal interaction. A narcissist can survive on a steady stream of online validation. As long as they continue receiving praise, comments, and approval, it helps sustain their unrealistic fantasies and unhealthy emotional needs. The second thing a narcissist fears more than almost anything else is having their true self exposed. I have discussed this subject before in another video, so I will not repeat every detail here. However, it is widely understood that narcissists place enormous value on the image they present to the world. They will often tell countless lies simply to protect that carefully constructed reputation. Much of their life becomes an ongoing performance designed to convince everyone that they are more successful, more intelligent, more attractive, or more accomplished than they truly are. When that carefully built image begins to crack in front of other people, the emotional pain can be overwhelming. Watching the false identity they have spent years creating slowly collapse is one of the most devastating experiences they can face. The third and final thing that deeply affects a narcissist is being criticized or insulted. Ironically, narcissists usually understand very well how their words affect other people. They often know exactly what they are doing when they use manipulation, dishonesty, or carefully chosen words to cause emotional pain. Yet when the situation is reversed, they struggle to tolerate even respectful, honest, or constructive criticism directed toward them. Being truthful with a narcissist is often treated as a personal offense in their eyes. This happens repeatedly because any criticism directed toward the identity they have created feels like an attack on their entire sense of self. Over time, you may notice that narcissists react especially strongly to insults because underneath the confidence they display lies significant insecurity and anxiety. Unfortunately, beneath the polished image they present, there is almost always an unresolved weakness or emotional wound hiding below the surface. That is simply the reality. Once their authentic self begins to emerge, maintaining the illusion becomes increasingly difficult. Many narcissists also struggle to recognize even basic truths about their own personality and behavior. Self-awareness is often limited because accepting flaws would require confronting the very insecurities they work so hard to hide. So in the end, these are three of the most powerful experiences that can genuinely affect a narcissist in negative ways. Once you begin paying close attention, many of their emotional weaknesses become much easier to recognize. They often rely on manipulation, deception, and control. Yet beneath those behaviors exists someone driven by fear, insecurity, and a constant need for validation. That is everything I wanted to share with you today. I will leave it there for now. I truly hope all of you enjoy the rest of your week, and thank you sincerely for taking the time to watch and listen. Now let's discuss one of the most effective ways to deal with a narcissist in your own life. Very few things trigger jealousy and envy in a narcissist more than watching you genuinely move forward and build a happy life without them. In many ways, that is one of the greatest emotional blows they can experience because your happiness reminds them of what they cannot create within themselves. Many narcissists struggle to experience lasting happiness on their own. Even those who achieve financial success, professional recognition, or social status rarely feel fulfilled because external achievements never satisfy their endless craving for admiration, attention, and approval. No matter how much they gain, it never seems to feel like enough. Narcissists often experience a disturbing sense of satisfaction when they witness other people suffering. Seeing someone else feel emotionally broken or defeated temporarily distracts them from the emptiness they carry inside, even if only for a brief moment. It is important to remember that narcissists frequently create unnecessary conflict for the people around them. The saying, "misery loves company," often reflects this pattern remarkably well because they feel more comfortable when others share in their emotional struggles. But never lose sight of this important truth. Your own emotional well-being and mental health are infinitely more valuable than anything a narcissist thinks, says, or does. Narcissists are often surprisingly skilled at recognizing emotional vulnerability. They can quickly notice when you are hurting, when you continue holding on to resentment, or when a part of you still hopes to forgive them. Those emotional openings often become opportunities for them to draw you back into the same unhealthy cycle. That is why maintaining healthy distance is so important. It is equally wise to be cautious around the people who continually defend or enable the narcissist, sometimes referred to as flying monkeys, because they may knowingly or unknowingly help reinforce the same harmful patterns. They often encourage guilt, confusion, and self-doubt, making it much harder for you to move forward. If your goal is to protect your peace and rebuild your confidence, one of the healthiest decisions you can make is to stop engaging with the narcissist and with those who consistently support their behavior. Remaining connected, even in small ways, often delays emotional recovery and makes healing more difficult. Naturally, every person's healing journey is different. The amount of time it takes depends largely on how deeply the relationship affected you, how long the manipulation lasted, and how much emotional damage was experienced. But with patience, healthy boundaries, supportive relationships, and continued self-care, genuine healing is absolutely possible. And each step forward brings you closer to lasting peace and emotional freedom. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you must interact with a narcissist, even after doing your best to avoid them, the most important thing you can do is remain emotionally balanced and composed. One effective strategy is to treat them as though they are simply part of the background, almost invisible, and continue walking without giving them any emotional reaction. one of the strongest responses you can offer is silence while protecting your own inner peace, because narcissists genuinely have difficulty understanding someone who refuses to participate in their emotional games. Many narcissists revisit people they once manipulated simply to reopen old conflicts over and over again. They often assume that life has been miserable without them, and they want to witness your pain because your suffering feeds their sense of superiority and control. The moment a narcissist recognizes that you are no longer interested in playing their endless cycle of conflict and reconciliation, they begin to lose that feeling of power. They often enjoy watching you become consumed by anger, bitterness, resentment, or fantasies of revenge, because those emotions keep you emotionally trapped. Remaining stuck in feelings of helplessness only extends the control they once had over your life and prevents you from moving forward. At the same time, holding on to a negative perspective about life can unintentionally invite even more negativity into your daily experience. If you truly want to rebuild your life after surviving narcissistic abuse, you must become willing to transform your thinking, reshape your emotional responses, and continue growing into a stronger version of yourself. Always choose courage throughout every stage of your healing journey. When narcissists notice that someone they once mistreated is now living a happy, successful, and fulfilling life, it can stir up feelings of envy, insecurity, or disappointment within them. Even if they appear supportive on the surface, deep inside, they may still resent you because their own actions destroyed the relationship, and your happiness reminds them of that reality. If you succeed in keeping your inner light shining despite everything they put you through, it often frustrates them even more. It becomes increasingly difficult for them to accept that you have healed, moved on, and created a better future for yourself. Deciding to treat a narcissist as though they no longer have any importance in your life is one of the quickest ways to disturb their emotional balance. It may create significant emotional discomfort for them, even if they never admit it openly. At this stage, you may begin to notice the narcissist slowly making another appearance, testing your boundaries and searching for an opportunity to re-enter your life. Allowing a narcissist back into your world can be extremely risky. Unless they sincerely accept responsibility for their behavior, offer a genuine apology, and acknowledge the harm they caused, it is usually healthiest to keep that chapter closed and ignore their attempts to reconnect. Sometimes they may use romantic gestures, unexpected kindness, or affectionate messages to make you question your decision to leave, only to return to the exact same destructive behaviors once your defenses come down again. If you know that a narcissist from your past is paying attention to your progress, maintaining complete emotional and physical distance is often the wisest choice. Your value has never depended on whether they acknowledge it or not. Your achievements, healing, and personal growth often become sources of jealousy because they remind them of their own emotional limitations and the reality that they cannot easily match your maturity, your character, or your emotional strength. Living well after experiencing narcissistic abuse is one of the greatest forms of victory available to you. Continue protecting your peace of mind, your emotional stability, and the light within you, and never allow anyone to take those precious things away. I sincerely hope everything I shared today offers you guidance and encouragement. I wish you a peaceful, fulfilling, and positive week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Now let's move into 9 important signs that may suggest a narcissist actually wants you back in their life. One behavior that is especially important to understand is known as hoovering. Hoovering is a form of emotional manipulation used by narcissists whenever they believe they are losing their influence and control over you. The word comes from the idea of quickly pulling something back in, almost like a vacuum. It is simply another manipulation technique designed to draw you back into the cycle of abuse so they can continue benefiting from your attention, emotions, and energy. From the narcissist's self-centered perspective, the story almost always remains the same. They convince themselves that you ended the relationship because they supposedly stopped caring once the honeymoon phase faded away. This follows a familiar pattern that many people experience. Everything begins with an impressive first impression, followed by behavior that gradually becomes controlling, hurtful, and emotionally exhausting. So, how can you recognize the warning signs that a narcissist is slowly draining your emotional energy? Stay with this video until the very end because I am going to explain 9 clear signs that reveal a narcissist is taking advantage of you. The first sign is that narcissists often behave as though absolutely nothing has changed between the two of you. A narcissist may unexpectedly reach out to someone they previously manipulated without any warning at all. Any message that seems excessively affectionate, unusually nostalgic, or strangely kind deserves careful attention. Rather than spending your energy trying to decode their true intentions, focus on recognizing the overall pattern. They frequently speak as though everything is perfectly normal and encourage you to forget the past as if nothing ever happened. This might come in the form of a humorous text message, a casual phone call asking how your day is going, or a seemingly harmless conversation that feels surprisingly familiar. Many former partners of narcissists describe experiences where the narcissist unexpectedly appeared at their workplace with comments such as, "I miss those days when you used to walk me to my car," or "I miss when you always brought me coffee," or similar sentimental remarks. Another common situation involves receiving flowers or thoughtful gifts completely out of the blue. Narcissists rarely accept genuine responsibility for the pain they caused or make a sincere commitment to changing their behavior. In fact, avoiding accountability is one of the most recognizable characteristics associated with narcissistic behavior. Instead, they often choose to pretend that none of the previous problems ever existed. Much of this carefully staged behavior is designed to preserve the image they want others, especially people following them on social media, to believe. At the same time, they are attempting to convince you that your relationship never truly came to an end. The second sign is that narcissists have become well known for offering apologies that sound convincing but lack genuine remorse. Keep in mind that lasting change is extremely uncommon without consistent self-awareness and professional help. Before deciding to forgive them or allowing them another opportunity, take a step back and honestly ask yourself whether their apology truly feels authentic. Very often, there is a quiet layer of manipulation hidden beneath these apologies. It may be subtle, but it can be remarkably effective. One simple way to evaluate their sincerity is by calmly disagreeing with them or gently changing the direction of the conversation. If they quickly become irritated, defensive, or angry, it is usually a strong indication that the apology was never heartfelt in the first place. Narcissists are deeply absorbed in their own needs and desires, often placing their personal interests above everyone else's well-being. Because of that, they tend to continue using these manipulation strategies for as long as those strategies continue producing the results they want. Always be careful around people who display fake remorse or perform emotional regret, because in many situations there is an underlying motive driving their behavior, and their apparent apology is often simply another method of getting something they want. That insincere apology is simply another form of manipulation. A genuine and heartfelt apology is usually followed by meaningful changes in a person's future actions. So do not spend too much time questioning the decisions you are making right now. You have every right to choose what is best for yourself. The third sign is that narcissists will make grand promises of everlasting love and complete devotion. Love bombing is one of their most powerful tactics. They will shower you with affection and reveal their emotions in a way that feels overwhelming and deeply convincing. For a narcissist, bringing up memories from the past becomes an important strategy for pulling you back into the relationship. They often magnify how special those moments supposedly were, using their inflated sense of self to make those experiences seem much more significant than they truly were. They may say things such as, "I will never meet anyone better than you," or "Nobody else could ever make me feel the way you do." These dramatic emotional declarations can temporarily make you feel safer or more connected to them. But every time they present this so-called love, what they are truly seeking is for you to surrender your boundaries and return to them. Even after everything that has already happened between you, these empty declarations of love continue without stopping. If you are involved with a narcissist, they will repeatedly use the word love as an emotional weapon to prevent you from walking away. The fourth sign appears when narcissists make promises they never truly plan to fulfill. This is another major part of their love bombing pattern. They will attempt to comfort you with huge, reassuring promises. They may start talking about marriage, promise to purchase a new car for you, or suggest planning an expensive vacation together. The reality is that there is very little chance they will actually keep any of these promises. Narcissists are mainly focused on serving their own interests, which is exactly why their promises cannot be relied upon. None of this happened because of something you did, and you should never blame yourself for the emotions you experienced or the way you reacted. Those promises were never truly about making your life better. Remember that clearly. Nearly everything a narcissist says or does is intended to strengthen your emotional dependence on them for as long as they possibly can. The fifth sign becomes noticeable when a narcissist is no longer able to contact you directly, so they begin reaching out through other people instead. A narcissist will often go to extraordinary lengths to pull you back into their world. One common tactic is maintaining close contact with your family, regularly speaking with your parents, and telling them how much they care about you. They may also use your children as part of their image, telling other people how amazing you are and how deeply they supposedly miss you. Be careful of this hoovering strategy where they attempt to move closer to your personal life by communicating through people you already know and trust. They may even send affectionate messages through these mutual connections. This usually takes place because you have stopped responding to their direct attempts to contact you. The sixth sign appears when a narcissist tries to gain your sympathy by portraying themselves as the victim. People with strong narcissistic traits often have a dramatic personality. They are capable of spending long periods feeling sorry for themselves, and they become remarkably skilled at creating fake emergencies or personal crises simply to pull your attention back toward them. It is not uncommon for them to exaggerate or even completely invent a family tragedy, such as a death, in order to receive your compassion. Their emotional performances are usually driven by an ongoing need for admiration, validation, and constant attention. Although much of their focus remains fixed on you, they also desperately want to be the center of everyone's attention wherever they go. Most of the time, this behavior is simply another attempt to capture your attention by increasing your feelings of fear, concern, or worry. Spreading misinformation and damaging rumors is another area where narcissists can be surprisingly skilled, which brings us to the seventh sign. This particular form of manipulation may eventually be directed toward you, even if it does not happen immediately. Narcissists, along with other highly dramatic personalities, often spread false stories about you throughout your own social circle. The very people you once trusted may unknowingly become part of their manipulation. They attempt to influence others by spreading lies about you while drawing attention to your mistakes or imperfections. Try your best not to get caught up in stories where they present themselves as the innocent hero while portraying you as the problem. If you immediately rush to defend yourself, you may unintentionally create even more confusion. Narcissists use this strategy because they want to separate you from the people who genuinely care about you, leaving you isolated from your normal support system. Their goal is that, over time, you will eventually return to them because you feel you have nowhere else to turn. Ultimately, it is your choice how you respond to unfair criticism or false comments from other people, since arguing with every accusation rarely produces a positive outcome. The eighth sign is gaslighting, a manipulation tactic that narcissists have perfected over time. After damaging your reputation and inventing accusations against you, they will attempt to persuade you that you are imagining everything. They may say things like, "I honestly feel like I am being ignored," even when that is completely untrue. They might claim, "I have done absolutely everything for this relationship." They may insist that you are thinking too deeply about every situation, or they may tell you, "The way I treated you was perfectly acceptable. I truly gave you my best." This kind of gaslighting is specifically designed to make you doubt your own memories, perceptions, and judgment, so they never have to accept responsibility for either their behavior or the emotional pain they caused you. Trust your instincts because they are usually much more accurate than you realize. Your first impression is often the correct one. The things narcissists say are frequently meant to create uncertainty because confusion benefits them. The more uncertain you become, the easier it is for them to regain influence over your thoughts and decisions. Do not spend endless hours trying to logically analyze every statement they make or waiting for the genuine affection they continue to promise but never consistently provide. Stay prepared because they will keep searching for ways to provoke an emotional reaction from you, whether through guilt, fear, anger, sympathy, or false hope. They understand that any emotional response, whether positive or negative, gives them another opportunity to reconnect with you and regain control. The strongest response you can give is remaining calm, protecting your boundaries, and refusing to let their manipulation determine your choices. Every step you take toward trusting yourself weakens the influence they once had over your life and strengthens your ability to move forward with confidence.